Okay, so a little difficult to see, but Quicklime is actually sitting. He's not right up against the glass, but he's sort of looking out where he would normally get out. He's actually sitting on his vine. I'm not sure if you can see him. So what I'm going to do is, because he's sitting looking at his usual getting out spot, hey buddy, I am going to open his door for him. There we go. He's noticed that it's open. I'm going to try and indicate that to him by showing him the blue target. So I'm still trying to teach him that blue target means door open. So I've opened the door. I'm going to wiggle the blue target at him until he notices it and maybe approaches. He might not. And then I'm going to pull it away because I don't want him to be nervous of the target. The target is literally just saying, hey buddy, I opened your door. So we will see what he does. His door is open. It's up to him whether he wants to come out or not. The blue target is an optional reinforcer. So basically that's just a bit of information for him. What I'm saying is this target means your door's open. It does not require a particular response from him. It's literally just a communication tool for me to say there is an opportunity to come out if you wish it. And I want him to learn that blue means door open, and then eventually I'll be able to invite him to come out by showing him that target. So we'll see what he does. I will pause this here because he may or he may not come out. I'm kind of loitering in the periphery, which might be annoying him slightly. He might be a little bit uncertain. Oh no, he looks like he might want to come out. He is kind of used to me standing around a bit, so he's not usually too bothered by me. Okay, so we're seeing from those time flicks, I think he's realised that his door's open, which is good. He's obviously smelling the air. It's up to him what he decides to do. So interestingly, for quite a young rat snake, rat snakes are kind of obviously renowned for being very good climbers, having very good vision, and being, when they wish to be, quite fast snakes. And Quicklime certainly can move quickly, as his namesake suggests, when he wants to, but I've never actually seen him do it. As you can see, he's actually a pretty cautious, calm snake. I think this is partly because he's pretty smart, but I think it's also partly because he's just not really particularly flighty. And I don't think, from everything I've heard about Russian rat snakes, they don't appear to be particularly flighty as a species. I dare say you can, of course, as with any animal, you have individuals who are more or less flighty or nervous than others. The Quicklime came to me as a yearling. I've had him for about 3 months now, 3.5 months perhaps, and he's already pretty relaxed. He was a little flighty when I first got him. I don't think he'd been particularly socialised, but in the 3 months that I've had him, he's come on a lot in his confidence. And as you can see, he moves pretty calmly and he moves very gradually. So I'm trying to film this essentially just to show how I work with him. So I have a webcam, that's that white occlusion you can see to the left there. I have a webcam that's pointed at his Viv. This means that I can check in on that to see if he is sitting at his door asking to come out, and if I'm at home, I can just go and open that door for him. What I then tend to do is what I'm doing now, which is I just kind of stand around in the vicinity, and he's just kind of used to me hanging out in his space and just kind of being here. So he's not especially bothered by me. And as much as possible, I will move this phone in a moment when his tail kind of comes out. Actually, I'll maybe move it now so you can see what he's doing. I'm just going to slowly kneel on the floor. I tend to move quite slowly and deliberately around him just because he moves slowly and deliberately, so I like to kind of mirror his energy as much as I can. So this is his cat tree. This is his exploring area that he has. It's right next to his Viv, and it's set up to just have things for him to do. You can see that he's perfectly capable, obviously, of getting out on his own. He's also perfectly capable of getting back in on his own if he chooses. He has done that once for the first time ever. He did that yesterday. He came out, he did a few loops of his cat tree, and he actually went back in and then came back out again. That's the first time he's done that, so that was kind of nice to see that he'd figured that out. You can see there's the webcam. Now, this cat tree is a no contact zone. What do I mean by that? That means that whilst Quicklime is on here, I will not pick him up. I will not touch him. I will not interfere with what he's doing. I might occasionally lay my arm or my hand on the cat tree near him, just to get him used to me kind of being nearby. Apologies for the wobbly shaky cam. Just to get him used to me being nearby or being around him. But I won't, unless I absolutely have to. And by what do I mean by absolutely have to? Unless I have to leave for work or I have to leave the house and he is still out, at which point I will pick him up, but only to put him back to his Viv. The rest of the time, unless it's a circumstance like that where I absolutely have to pick him up and it's completely unavoidable, I will not pick him up from here. I will not touch him. I will not interfere with his snake business. This is a no contact zone. So this means that he understands that this is his space. I may hang out near it. I may sometimes put my arm on it, but I am not going to interfere with him. I am not going to bother him. I'm not going to hassle him. So he feels very confident in this space. And he very much likes this space. As you've seen, I do not put him on here. He chooses to come out. This is another thing around choice-based interaction. I communicate to him that his door's open. It's up to him what he wants to do. Now, he finds free roaming very rewarding. He likes doing it. We sometimes are very hesitant to say that snakes like things. What we tend to say is that they prefer certain things. So Quicklime prefers to come out and free roam as much as possible. He will often choose to do this. He will often sit in that corner of his Viv and wait in expectation of me opening his door. So he understands this, and this is a choice that he prefers to make and he likes to have available to him. What tends to happen now is, so long as I am home and I do not have to go anywhere, he can be out for as long, he can be out for as long as his light is on. So essentially what that means is he has a day length. Obviously his lights are on a timer. For my diurnal snakes, I will not let them stay out after their lights go out because I want them to have a routine. I want them to have that kind of sense that they have their active period during the day, and at night I will put them back in their Viv. They are, of course, free to continue being active, but they're not being active out in the flat. I also have certain key quote-unquote rules as to what Quicklime gets to do, what he's allowed to do versus what he is always what he wants to do. So as I mentioned, whilst he's on this cat tree, I won't touch him. I'm not going to bother him. I'm not going to pick him up. However, if he goes onto the floor, so this is the floor here, he is allowed to be, you can see the blue base of the cat tree there. So long as he remains within the boundary of that blue base, for example, if he goes into that hide, that's completely fine. Again, that is his area. I will not touch him. I will not pick him up. I will not interfere with his snake stuff. If, however, he moves off of that blue platform, in other words, if he heads, for example, over here towards underneath the vivarium, where kind of cables and bits of machinery are, I am not going to let him do that. That's partly for his safety, because that's an area that I could quite easily lose track of him. I don't want that. I do want him to be supervised for his own safety. So I'll pick him up. If he moves off of here, I will let him know that I'm going to pick him up. I usually do that by showing him my hand and then very carefully touching his side with my hand, and then I will just gently scoop him up and I put him around my neck. And then I will slowly walk with him from here into the living room where he has another exploring area, and he will get to explore that area instead. The other area that he's not allowed to go from here is up there on top of the Viv. Now this is again because there's lots of boxes and things like that that I'm concerned that he could get into, and I would not be able to monitor him or access him. So he's not allowed up there, but he is allowed anywhere on this cat tree. And he can, of course, go back and forth from his Viv if he chooses to do so. What he's doing right now is he's coming down to the ground. Now, I will wait and see what he decides to do. So he might, for example, on getting down to the ground, he may turn around and he might go into that hide. If he does that, that's completely fine. I have no problem with that. Insert snakes and ladders joke here, by the way. If, however, he decides to go that way, or between the banisters, or if he decides to go over there, I'm going to pick him up. And he is indeed going towards the banisters. So I don't really want him doing this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show him my hand. Sir, could you turn around? Now he has turned around, but I don't really want him wandering around on the floor because towards there is the kitchen. So I'm going to try and demonstrate to you how I pick him up. So I'm going to put the phone down here. And we're going to do this. Buddy, sir. You can see I'm just putting my hand around him. I'm going to scoop the middle part of his body. I'm going to run my hand over and just lift him up. I'm not pulling him. Oh, I don't know if you can even see that from there. So he is determined to hook himself around the banister, which I really don't want him doing. So I'm going to move the phone. Hopefully you can still see him. And you can see he can be pretty quick when he wants to be. So let's try this again. Okay, sir. Sir. Here we go. Yeah. So I'm just scooping him up. There we go. Okay. Can you let go of the banister for me? Can you do that? What I'm doing is I'm directing him to my shoulder. Because what I want him to do is to choose to climb onto me. Come on. Climb onto me, please. Come on, buddy. I know. You want to engage in mischief, but we're not doing that. So we're going to slide you up the banister, sir. No. Come on. Come on, buddy. I know. Come on. Over here, please. Come over here, please. So you can't really see what I'm doing, which is a bit unfortunate, because I do need both of my hands to do this. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is direct him to me. No. Sir. Come up here, please. So I'm just trying to persuade him to go where I want him to go rather than where he wants to go. And he's not being massively cooperative today. Come on, sir. Over here, please. Climb onto me, please. No. But you can see I'm not pulling or dragging him. I'm just trying to, you can see here, all I'm doing is redirecting him. I'm just trying to persuade him that I don't want him going that way. So we are essentially having a negotiation right here. Sir. Come on. No. Come on. So I'm just being patient with him. And I'm trying to help him to understand that if he climbs onto me, I'm going to let go of him. There we go. He figured it out. So you can see he's figured it out now. He knows that I don't want him on there. I'm not going to pull him. I'm not going to drag him anywhere. I'm just going to gently redirect him from where I don't want him to be to a place where he can have a bit more freedom to just do what he wants to do. There we go. So I'm just waiting for him to let go with his tail, which he may or may not do. Come on, buddy. Come on, sir. Yeah. So he's a little bit annoyed because I'm not letting him do what he wants to do. There we go. I'm just going to gently encourage him to let go here. I'm not pulling him. I'm just stroking his underside. Come on, sir. That's it. Let go from me, buddy. There we go, good boy. Okay, there we go, good boy. Now, as you saw, no grabbing, no dragging, no pulling. I just scoop him, lift him, and point him away from where I don't want him to be to where I want him to be. Now he's a little bit put out, but he's not scared. He's not scared, he's not freaking out, he's not flighty, he's not bothered. Well, he's a little bit bothered because I've stopped him doing what he wants to do. So he's now going to climb around on me, and whilst he does that, I'm going to set up his exploring area. So I'm going to turn the camera around. It's normally over here, but you can see his towels are not set up right now. So I'm going to set his towels up whilst he's on me, and then I'm going to give him the option to climb onto there. So I'm going to pause this whilst I set up his towels. There we go. Okay, so his area is now set up for him. Whilst I've been doing that, he's just been noodling around on me, and I've just been letting him do that. I'm not sort of directly restraining him or directing him or anything. He knows once he's on me, I'm just going to let him do that. He's fine. I've now, I'll switch the camera, his towels. What this is literally just some safe kind of bridge areas for him to access where he's allowed to climb. Just because I don't want him overextending himself and like flopping onto the floor or anything. So this just makes it kind of safe and easy for him to access the places that I am comfortable with him exploring. So he's now getting impatient. You can see he's over here. He's like, where's my stuff, human? You've usually got my stuff ready for me by now. So yeah, buddy, I got your stuff ready for you. So what I'm going to do is oh, what are you doing, sir? Where are we going? Can you hang on better? Because I'm concerned you're going to fall off. Yeah? That's it. Can you turn around for me? So all I'm going to do is stand near his exploring area. And he knows this area pretty well. He knows what this means. It's like, okay, you've put up with me for a little bit. And your reward is you can now go and do your own thing if you want. Now, he's not a huge fan of human skin. Because obviously it's hard for snakes to grip onto us. We're slightly sticky. From their perspective, but he'll tolerate it to get somewhere that he wants to get to, which he's doing now. You can see he's not like running or anything. He's not panicked. He understands what's happening. You're gonna go. There we go. And again, I'm not putting him anywhere. I'm just being an access point for him to go and do whatever. Oh, did I put a new thing out there for you today? Yeah, that's a snuffle mat. You've not seen that before. Is this a new thing? You want to check it out? Yeah, you check it out. There you go. Hey, bud. Hi, bud. Go do your thing. So this is kind of how I work with him. This is another no contact zone, by the way. Again, with the caveat, unless I'm putting him home, because his exploring time is done, or he has gone somewhere I don't want him to. In other words, on the television stand or on the floor. These are the two places he is not allowed to go. But other than that, he can pretty much do whatever he wants whilst he's here, and I will leave him alone and let him just do his snake business. So there we go, he's off me. I'm just going to slowly pull my arm back. There we go. I'm going to turn the camera so we can get a better view of him. Okay, there. So that's how I work with him. I'm really, really consistent. Essentially, he goes to that corner of his viv. I will open the door for him. I'll wait for him to come out. I will sit next to the cat tree whilst he's on it. If he remains on the cat tree, I don't touch him. If he goes on the floor, I will pick him up. I'll put him on me. Or rather, I will scoop him up. I'll direct him to climb onto me rather than whatever it is he's trying to do that I don't want him to do. He will then kind of freely climb around on me whilst I set up this area for him. So that means that he has a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes of being on me without me particularly restraining him or anything. And then he is offered the opportunity to get back onto his other exploring area, which is this, which is also a no contact area. I will not touch him whilst he's on here, except under 2 circumstances. 1, I need to put him home. 2, he's going somewhere I am not comfortable with. In other words, somewhere where he's not allowed or I am concerned for his safety. So that would be the floor. And that's really kind of it, or the television stand. So he's not allowed on the TV stand. He's not allowed on the floor. Other than that, he can be on top of these vivs. He can be in the bookshelf. He can be on there. If he attempts to go down to the floor, which he sometimes does via the side of this viv or the table leg, then I will pick him up and I'll do the same thing in reverse. So I'll pick him up, I'll put him on me. He'll have to be on me for a little bit. I'll walk him back to the cat tree. I'll put him back on the cat tree. So what I'm trying to communicate to Quicklime here is that so long as you are on your free roaming areas, you are free to do whatever you want. I will not interfere with you. I might stand near you. I might be in the vicinity. I might hang out beside you, but I am not going to touch you. If, however, you go on top of your viv or onto the floor, I will pick you up. I will carry you through here, and then you will have the opportunity to explore here. Whilst you are here, again, I won't touch you. I won't interfere with you. I won't pick you up. But if you go onto the floor or if you go onto the TV stand, I will pick you up. I will carry you back through to your cat tree and I will let you explore there. So this is kind of how I'm working with him. And so far, I would say it seems to be going pretty well. I'm standing pretty close to him right now, and he really just doesn't much care. He's noticed me. The one thing I will say with Quicklime is he is very visually aware of what's going on in his environment. His eyesight is incredibly good, and I do mean incredibly good. He can see me from a much greater distance than the ball python can, and very much more so than the hognoses can. So he has excellent visual acuity. He is very orientated to movement, and he is highly athletic and very active. He's not zoomy, as you can see. He is not a zoomy snake, but he is, hopefully as is clear from here, very, very long. He's a very long snake. He's quite strong for his length and his size, which is why, as you saw with the fiasco with the banister, I will not pull on him. I never pull him. I never fight with him. I will scoop him up and redirect him, and that's how we work. So then it's a negotiation, then it's a conversation. If you want me to let go, I need you to change direction. If you're not going to change direction, I am going to prevent you from going to the dangerous place that I don't want you going to. So he might be coming onto the sofa, where he's also allowed on the sofa. I have mixed feelings about him being on the sofa because he sometimes tries to get in amongst the cushions, which I'm not a huge fan of, and I will often redirect him from doing. But by and large, he can kind of do what he wants over there, and that's fine. Okay. So hopefully that illustrates a little bit of how I work with Quicklime. It seems to be working. Like you can see, he's pretty confident. He's really not that bothered by me kind of at all. And he's really not bothered by me being around or picking him up. He gets a little bit annoyed if I'm stopping him doing something that he's really determined to do, as you saw, but he's not scared. He may be a bit stubborn, but he's not afraid. He's very much not afraid of me at all. So there we go. So I don't know if that was helpful or not, but hopefully that gives a bit of an example of how I communicate with him. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of as best as I can explain what sort of choice-based interaction, free roaming, and kind of consistent communication looks like for me in Quicklime. But, you know, he's my first rat snake. We are still figuring each other out. So far, it seems to be going pretty well. As I mentioned, I've only had him for 3 months, and he seems to be doing just fine. So with that, I will stop this here.